Nobody loves to believe. Yeah. Pop, 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 pop. Yeah. Okay. Since technology, I just thought, let me cut it short. I'm a little bit late. Welcome, everybody to the Overthinking Football Show. My name is Jones Mokwena. I am your host, and this is a place where we absolutely love South African football. We love African football, and every now and then we dip our toes that side. It's not a lot, but it does happen. The show is on every Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, and Friday, as well as if Chiefs, Pirates, Mamelodi Sundowns, bafana, banyana are in action. We will be here covering those games as well. It's a very interactive show. You can jump in and add your voice and tell me exactly what you're thinking about what we're going to be talking about tonight by pressing the multi-guest button on TikTok. So you have to join me right now live on TikTok. Follow the account, and then bottom of your screen there's a button that says multi-guest, or it's got a blue figure hugging a pink figure. You press it, I let you in, and then we can have a discussion about whatever it is that we're talking about. Guys, when I say we're dedicated here at Overthinking Football, we were watching Pirates, the training games, the Pirates. We were here covering those games too. So that is how dedicated we are. Now, guys, please tap the screen as much as possible. As well as if it's your first time here, consider giving me a follow, as well as other things. I drop other content on TikTok, on YouTube, everywhere. If you look at my my podcast, that's out today, and all of that stuff is available on YouTube. On this, even these shows. It's not just reviews, it's not just talking matches, it's also where we speak about some really dope topics where you guys can jump in and tell me exactly what you're thinking. Oh, Alwande of all Hebana. Imagine who's here today. Lisa, welcome. I don't know what happened, but I'll see when it's going to drop. Okay, today the topic is very simple. Obviously, Sunday we've got the second leg of the CAF Champions League final between Mamelodi Sundowns and Pyramids. The first leg ended 1-1, and now we're going to be looking into what's going to happen on Sunday. So please feel free to jump in so that we can have a conversation about Mamelodi Sundowns, and you can tell me exactly what you guys are thinking about this game. We will preview it. Remember, 5 minutes. Everybody's going to get 5 minutes. There's going to be 4 panels tonight, 4 panels of 5 people. Everybody's going to get 5 minutes. Tell me what you're thinking generally for the 5 minutes, and I can ask you a question or two. We can have a discussion. So please, guys, welcome. Agent, I saw you jump in and jump out, my brother. Open it up and we can go for it. Okay, so let me see who's here, and then we can start the show. Let me just get my timer up. Okay, Kuziso, welcome. How are you?
I'm wonderful, and you, my guy?
Ke off season, man. Sundowns. How do you feel about this game that Pyramids is going to play with Sundowns? Second leg.
It's one of the biggest game Loring in weekend will be waiting for.
Okay.
But for my view and my expectation, and my wish is to see one of the teams come from SADC winning the CAF.
Okay.
But for my side, if the coach akazama go tla ka lineup e kaone ye lena a believang gore e ka tla ya re winisha, I think we will win. Then the only thing that our boys need, they need the motivation for ba ye kwa ba le motivated or we are here to win.
Yeah.
Just that football is football, and then ntho e ka tlhagang Cairo ke e ka tlhagang. We just that in our den we failed to go ka tswalela pyramid re ska ya kora re ska bala away goal.
Yeah.
E tlhagile ntho e nna re tshepang go gore bafana ba rena ba re ba ya kwa ba le motivated ba kgona go score. Ntho e kgolo re nyakang gore a go be le di-goal, and
yeah,
if you can check recently, Sundowns have changed the way they play. Game ba thoma go dlala the long ball too much. We are not criticizing how the coach is playing football, mara it's a concern to us or now if we are losing that identity of building up. Re tlo dlala the long ball o ka kgona go bona le substitute ya Matthews.
Yeah.
I dirileng ka 37. The question is, it was necessary now gore I did that change.
Mara ke batla go botsa before you get past the changes. Ona le batho that are speaking about at Themba Zwane hore tshwantse a kene teaming. How do you feel about starting lineup seo? Do you think that Themba Zwane should get in? How so ucho or no? Also, you're losing the build up. How do you feel like the starting lineup should be, and should Themba Zwane play?
For me, Themba or for me, I wouldn't say Themba Atzen or Aski Atzen. But yeah, if coach, I believe the player now, remember we need game in Themba as Ali injury.
Yeah.
And manga automatically into create le pressure e sa kgonagale. Okay, we can say Themba atsene game ya osasa. I mean ya Sunday Themba atsena. A start deliver ka mokgo re na re expectang ka gona. And then re tlo bua gape ga tla go utsura wa ya thomile ka Themba. Then now to criticize again. Now I just feel what if Themba anyaka go molokela, I can't thoma ka yena or I ka thoma ka yena second half. It will depend on the intensity of the game or na game re dala mola go yona intensity ya ona ke the planning ke. If those guys they are sitting on the back, we must know what okay we need the intelligent players where Lord they will know how to read the game. Remember playing the playing from the back. The reason of playing from the back the midfielder, midfield so that we can open the space. So more players they are very intellectual or now how can we break this wall of pyramids? Pyramids attacking football. It's different to all North team. Attacking football. If we want attacking football, we must understand that if we use our mokwena as an anchor and then Allende and Ribeiro it's either Ribeiro it's number 10 and then Ramdaishale Allende and then from the wing side Matthews and then Rabale Shalulile or Reinas. I think that will work. Remember Sundowns Reba Palaka flat 3. Our flat 3 it allows us to use Mudiba and Motaung as the faster wingers. So which means the wingers are open. They drop inside wherever three at the front and then three at the back.
Time, Kutiso. I think there's going to be time to come back in. I just want to get everybody in. Agent, my brother, welcome to the show.
Shalom, my brother.
Oh, shalom today.
Yes.
Retawana Sunday morning. Anyway, Agent, tell me. How do you feel about this game?
The Egyptians to see. you shall see them no more. Oh, the Egyptians we are seeing, we shall see them no more.
Ow.
Say amen.
Okay, amen. Amen.
No, man. I'm pretty much interested in how the game will turn out. But I'm more intrigued in how we're going to set up at the back more than at the front, you know, because we saw the tactics of that team, and I wonder if you're going to go back to a back five of Motaung and Morena. Given that Lunga maybe is not fit enough, or maybe he'll be fit enough to play 90, but I doubt. Maybe we'll bring him in the second half. So it will be very interesting on how the setup is, you know. But I don't know Cardoso how he'll approach this game. But for me, William starts obviously Mudiba because of the doubt of Ulunga. But if Lunga can play 90, then I'll play him. But Mudiba, Libusa, or Kekana, Umadau. In the middle field, I think it picks itself. It's Allende, it's Jaden, and it's Mokwena.
Okay.
The front three then becomes interesting. Obviously, we know Ribeiro is there, and Reynas is there. So the last spot, I'm caught between bringing in Morena, who's gonna play the wing back position instead of just a normal winger. You know, so that defending can go back to maybe a back five, you know.
Cover Aubrey as well.
To cover Aubrey as well, you know. Or you bring Patrice Matthews, who can maybe won't go as deep, but he's gonna provide width, and even provides width. Aubrey's only job will be to invert into the midfield and go back, so you'll have less distance to cover.
Okay.
So yeah. But yeah, I think that's where I am. I think the only substitution that I'm not sure, or the only player that I'm not sure of is it Reynas or Matthews, but I'm leaning more towards.
Evan, Kyo Caruso phone. You're saying too much, agent.
No. So yeah, I'm leaning more towards Morena. Yeah.
I want to ask you about the approach, though. How should they approach? Because there's been people that are saying Sundowns must come out and go for an early goal. There's other people that are saying that Sundowns must just wait it out and let CAF Champions League play out the way CAF Champions League plays out, even if it's 90+3. What should the approach be for Sundowns? With a away goal. Well,
we don't have to be desperate for a goal. The goal is gonna come.
Yeah.
Pyramids' defense is leaky. The goal is gonna come. So just be patient. In the first half, I think it's a similar setup to the Ahly game. First half, contain. Second half, go out for the kill. You know, especially around the 60th, 65th minute, 70th minute, when you bring in your top guns like Bozwane, Boshalulile, Bosales, you know, that's when you go for the kill, you know. But otherwise, yeah, just stay in the game. Make sure that don't concede. Even if you concede, make sure you concede one, because then you can get a goal for sure, granted of it.
Are you at all worried about Pyramids because they score 5-1 right now?
Yeah, no, I see a 2-2 draw.
Okay. Wait, one last question. 30 seconds. Pyramids played this week. Sundowns is usually in this position. Do you feel that there's an advantage given to Sundowns knowing that Pyramids played this week? They've got the drama happening in Egypt.
Or maybe on the flip side of it is they're going to be extra motivated, because had they won the league, maybe it was going to be a consolation, but they want to finish the season on a high with some silverware, you know. So it can, and I would think it was right, you know. It can even end 4-4, you know, 3-3. It's going to be a high scoring game. It's going to be open, you know. Yeah. So man, I don't know how to feel, but yeah, man, it will be what it is. Thank you.
What time I'm going to jump in, guys? For those who don't know, Pyramids and Al Ahly both celebrated the league this past week because Al Ahly won by points, but there was a disputed game versus Zamalek that Pyramids is saying the points must be deducted, and if the points are deducted, they win. Very rarely that thing. Let me go to Tyler. Tyler?
or someone who understands. Sorry, someone who understands what's going on. Can someone explain to me? Because the situation, I don't understand it. 3 points taken, another 3 points taken. What's happening there, Shem? The stories are just too mixed up for me.
Okay, let me take a second to explain. So what happened was that it was the Royal AM situation. Royal AM is number 2, Skukule is number 1, but then Royal AM has a grievance in saying that there's something that happened where points must be taken away from number 1. So in the Egyptian league right now, remember the game where Ahly was on strike versus Zamalek and said they don't want to play because the refs have to be foreign or something like that. So that game wasn't concluded apparently. So now Pyramid's argument is that you can't let Ahly win the league when we are, I think, 1 point behind them, when we know that there's a game that they didn't play versus Zamalek and that thing wasn't sorted. So it's basically one of those complaints where Pyramids is saying we're the rightful winners of the league because Ahly didn't play that game versus Zamalek, and Ahly saying, Joe, it was ruled upon, we've won. That's the situation. Let me bring in Tyler. Tyler?
Hey, I see the agent is here. Abud Kutso is here. Hey, OT, how's you?
Hi, but I'm good, Tyler. Hey, how do you feel? End of the season. Now we're gonna watch Mamelodi Sundowns.
OT. Now the way I analyzed the first leg, Sundowns.
Yeah.
To me, and then I looked at their history this year, how they've done CAF Champions League.
Okay.
And their last 5 games on OT, look at the goals they've scored. 1-1, 1-0. There hasn't been goals. Okay. And a lot of players on OT have not been really playing to their optimal, the way we know how they can play. Yeah. You look at the first leg, how disappointed I was at Ribeiro. Even though I think he was being played out of position because he had to track back and assist Mudau. You look at in the middle there, Alende, and Mokwena was the only one who was trying to, bulldoze and cover the ground. Because the guys were actually, the pyramid were targeting Mudau and Modiba, bringing in those crosses every now and then. The Ribeiro didn't do well. I don't understand why Salez he was not substituted because he was so poor in that game. And looking at the coach himself, I think, look at the history on the OT. He even says sometimes, I've been in so many finals. And when you watch these finals, he's been through, even the last year was last, and he lost in the final. I think that on its own, when OT is playing on his head.
Guys, please mute.
That on itself, when OT is playing on his head, look at the mistake he made there. What a blunder. He put 2 midfielders, Mokwena and Alende, and those guys, they play 4-4-2. They overloaded the midfield. Every time Sundowns is the party bowler, there's 2 guys in front, in them. And you look at the position, the striker there. Sundowns, they had 67 ball position. Look where most of that position was played. It was played between Williams, Grant, and the other defender. Half of that position was played there. And those guys were just sitting and they were pushing up, And I think that's why Ule Nduga, Reyners also almost scored because they realized they pushed up. And if they're going to play that type of football, they must kiss this thing goodbye.
Can I ask, Tyler, is it going to come down to tactics? Because, Champions League man has that lucky goal thing about it. Do you think that the tactics are going to be very good, very important, seeing as even last time, if it wasn't for 90 plus 4, maybe we say Cardoso the genius.
Very, very important. Look at the first leg. It tells you, that Coach Pyramid, he's smart. He understands what is what, where the weakness is the Sundowns. He knows Mudau will push up. when you look at how many times Mudau had to track back, and how many times they almost scored. You know, it's a game of tactics. And why, when OT, ask yourself, why did he take out Matthews and he put in a midfielder? That's a tactical approach. When OT say it's a game of tactics. This game is going to be won by coaches. This game, because a pyramid, you know, and Sundowns, they have the same, more or less the same strength. There's no weaker team between the two. So it boils down to the mindset your coaches and their tactical abilities. Yeah.
Do you see it? You know, Rulani lost his job because he couldn't make the finer tweaks. Cardoso were brought in to make finer tweaks. Do you think that? Do you think Cardoso is maybe losing it a bit here?
He's losing it, OT. He's losing it. Why would you like you were not playing Miami for the whole season, the whole freaking season, when OT, and then you come in the most crucial, you're in the final. You introduce Miami, and it's not that quick of a player.
Yeah.
You introduce, instead of introducing Tambazwan, who is going to inspire most of the players there, because they even have a song about him. Imagine the stadium, the atmosphere when OT, what that's going to do to players' mindset and to the opponent's mindset, because Tambazwan is well known. And you put in Miami. That coach, he's going to lose this thing when OT. Honestly, he's not going to score there. And we must consider him as a failure, because he only won one league, and he must go.
For time about the champion. For time about the champion, let me bring in Umbuiso.
It's fine, and Abu Kuto can come in.
Buiso, welcome. How are you? You can just unmute them, Buiso.
My brother, Nyaphila Nijan lapha.
It's in a Simnandi, out of office, Bugeli Sundowns. How do you feel about this game?
Sundowns is gonna win the game. No matter what, they're gonna win the game. If Lunga is okay, then I can say Lunga must play number 3. Then Alende, Mokwena, Mudiba, middle. Front, Shaulile, Reynas, and Ribeiro. Then I think those people, the front line, they must be next to each other. Then they can just help. Then Ribeiro, he must just run around, look for the ball. Yeah. Then those people, then they're gonna suffer.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But can you make Pyramids suffer? Because Pyramids runs for 90 minutes non-stop. Those guys, they don't care.
They are right. You know, my brother, Pyramid is playing like these people, like these teams like Sekukuni and other Golden Arrows, the teams that we see that they are small in South Africa. They are running 90 minutes, 150 minutes, but still lose.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's the same thing that is going to happen there. They're going to run, but they won't get the ball. Yeah. Sundowns is going to hide the ball. They won't get the ball.
But then aren't you afraid of one goal? Fiston Mayela can maybe pop up and score a lucky goal.
Already he failed.
Yeah.
Yeah, he failed.
So then I've got your starting lineup. Now I want to know your changes. Do you see Miami as somebody of value that can come in? Do you see Tambazwane as someone of value?
Both of them, one of them can just come in, but I don't think they're gonna bring the difference, because both of them, they didn't play for the whole season. Both of them.
Yeah.
Then people complaining about why Zwane is not being given a chance. What about Miami? Because both of them, they didn't get a chance for the whole season. then I will say, if it's happened, then I can, second half, I can put Morena. If score is draw, I can put Morena for his pace.
Okay.
Yeah, and maybe Matthew Morena and Matthew front line. Those people, then I can just use them. But if there is no goal, there's nothing that I can just change there. I think,
Yeah.
yeah, I will be happy about that. But as we said, these people, our coaches, they're gonna sit down, watch those guys, how did they play, and I think now they know what they're supposed to do now. They know exactly what is gonna happen in that game. But that 3-0, is going to them. They're gonna go get a 3-0 on Sunday. 3-0.
Okay. No, Buisa, thank you so much. Let me bring in Malume Kutso. Malume Kutso. How are you, Malume Kutso?
Mr. Uti,
Ngi-off, man. Ngi-off. Angisana stress for the day. Hugo Bruce, akafuna ama-player wami. It's good. Ngi-relaxed.
hayi bawuphikile amaplayer wakho awubonanga ayidlala ikhosafa.
Yeah, okay. I khoza man. I see count, man. But it's fine. Malume Kutso, tell me, how do you feel about this game?
An interesting game, Mr. OT.
Yeah.
There's something we used to say at the beginning of the season. I think it's gonna have to come to the fore. We used to revere Coach Cardoso of how he's able to introduce a plan after the plan Silvelile,
Yeah.
opponent, how adaptable he is. I think this is the moment because Upegene Namakhotman, you understand? There's a pyramid Namakhotman. They play like Khotman, those guys. They know when to apply themselves and how to apply themselves. And once they find a loose endinyana or a weak link, they go to town with it. You understand? So Coach Cardoso has to show their adaptability. And unfortunately, because it's a final and not necessarily a league or a group stage match, he needs to address it immediately. He does not have a luxury of 30 other games or 25 other games. This is do or die, make or break. But quality-wise, Mr. OT, I've been thinking, I'm like, do Sundowns really have a player F4 style? I've been having a conversation or train in the group. I'm like, Unkota has more capacity than Saling.
Okay.
And mainly because, and boy too, one thing they have in common, by a Foster, Mr. OT, they see opportunities where the average eye will see none. You understand? And I look at the Sundowns squad, I'm like, they've got too many players that are elegant, you know? Abanga forced, you know, in that attack. But if you're talking about Mokwena, okay, Mokwena play for style, but in the midfield, in attack, I would, at the moment, I think Reyners is the guy.
Okay.
You know, he's not a wide player, of course, but Reyners would be Sundowns' match winner because when you look at the pyramids, if you apply pressure as an individual, if you look at what Nkota did to them away, those shots that he got away, those chances, he was wreaking havoc. So I think Reyners is that player who decides, he presses the afterpin, he just turns sometimes and decides with Nyabaland. So Cardoso is going to have to, in as much as he's going to have to apply himself extra, I think he's going to need to give Amachita a chance. Some wiggle room to say, okay, Sundowns, Ningama player who understand the ball circulation more than I do. There's going to come a time in the game where we are probably 2-1 up or the score is level at 2-2. You're going to need to go into that rulani bag and circulate the ball. Do what you know best. Hide the ball. I think Kumbuyiseni somehow mentioned it, even though I mentioned in the breath that I'm mentioning it, to say we are up 2-1 or we are up in terms of away goals. Circulate the ball more. Hide the ball from our opponent. Stress them, which is what we fail to do as Orlando Pirates. Because one thing I can guarantee you, if Sundowns here for success, if Uripero his hot and cold. What do I mean hot and cold? He can be that Tembazwane player, and then he can be a Motaung CAF, you know? Because I think going into that Kanaking Pyramids game, you need more of a Motaung CAF to say Nyabalanda, man. Because Lama defender, man, they defend well as a team. But if we totally want them exposer, I don't think they can give you the answers. Yeah, you understand. You can exploit them. You can expose that space. So I think Ribeiro tomorrow has to take that side that he took to Orlando Pirates when he carried the ball from a kind of king a half in without looking to pass. Just pure pace, no skill, just pure pace. Not just carrying the ball. Hey, when's Agalan?
My gift, man. Thank you, guys.
Hey, time.
I actually wanted to ask you a question.
Okay. Over to you.
Is this a fasting game, Malume Kuto? Or is this a patient game that should play out like a CAF Champions League game? You sometimes be patient until 90+1, or should they be proactive?
The only team that's going to be patient is Sundowns.
Yeah.
La match our pyramids, they go for the kill. They don't play around, Mr. OT. So what I'm saying is Sundowns are going to have to find a balance between the two. They're going to have to move it around and pick their moments to say, okay, manje, sivuleli volume. They're going to have to come to that point where they're like, manje, siyapelela. We're going fully in, you understand? We suffocate pyramids. But when the time comes again, you just you drop a gear and you start circulating the ball. You make them run after the ball, you understand, Mr. Uti? That's how I think that's the best bit.
For time, I'm going to jump in. Agent, just to clarify, Ahly was docked points for not going to that Zamalek game, but Zamalek and Pyramids have put in a request to the Court of Arbitration of Sports International to say we want 3 more additional points because basically.
That's what I wanted to get at, is because it was the first time reading the rule, and I'm like, so the team loses 3 points, given to the other team, and they lose an extra 3 points also for not honoring the game. Is that anything that we have ever seen about the Kuzo?
There's something of that nature going on in the courts right now, La Imzans, which is something I would love for us to discuss, Mr. Uti. Uti, I think Venda Football Academy, JDR has taken them to court because Balete coach and Bamfage team sheet as the coach had a red card. And then instead the punitive measure imposed against the team was just financial and not necessarily my points. And JDR or JRD or whatever, JDR or they want exactly. They want my points. So I would understand which Al-Ahly, when they say they lost 3 points, are they saying in the form of a walkover for just that game? Have they been punished with the other 3 points now?
Yeah, they were punished by the Egyptian League, 3-0, 3 points. But then I think both Pyramids are trying to do like a distribute type of thing. That what they did was so bad that you should dock even more points, essentially.
Oh, so they weren't docked points; they just lost the game.
Yeah, they were docked points for not pitching for the game, so they were punished in the league. But then Zamalek Pyramids bakinyaletswai.
Right. Okay, guys, thank you.
One day discussing what's going to happen to the PSL if from the SAFA leagues, Hollywood Bets, and then ABC Motsepe, those leagues are known for going in and out of court. Now this thing has made it to the NFD to a point where it's now affecting Elon, and all of those teams. Eventually they make it into the PSL. Are we not going to see a situation where one day even the PSL faces a situation whereby Silolama points in my court? But thank you for your time, Mr. Uti.
Thank Mamkize. Mamkize showed you how to get out of that one. Just buy a status and leave it alone. But for time. Guys, we are back with the match preview. Thank you so much to the people that have been gifting. Lebza, Mike, H, thank you so much for the gifts on that side. Keep them coming, guys. And Tata screen. Montana, welcome to the show. How are you?
Hey, OT, I'm good, man. Hey, Mr. George. Hey, it's Friday, man.
It's Friday, man.
We are not used to seeing you on Fridays.
But I've been here.
But it's fine. We don't complain. We're not complaining, OT. we are much happy. We are much happy. This is the only platform that we can say anything that we want without being judged.
Not anything, Mara. Not anything. Please don't get me banned.
I know.
I want to ask you, Montana, what do you think about the game? Second leg in Egypt. What can Sundowns do here?
Hey, Mr. Oti, I've been saying it to my son Tawana that sometimes and history has some way of repeating itself. If you look at Sundowns, when it comes to cup finals, their history is bad since way back. So sometimes that psychological thing, when the players they will think at back of their mind, are we good enough? And you want to break that case or that jinx. So that could play a vital role in Kulondole, because you saw how they lost the finals, even up in Zanz. They lost a lot of finals to a team that we thought they're gonna win. The quality is there. There's no denying about that. The quality, the depth, but sometimes as much we have a big squad, especially with matches in Jena, it could backfire because you are spoiled with choices and you don't know exactly who to pick, because at that game, if you remember, some fans were crying for Uzwan. Were crying for his substitutions. And then this game, as much as Bengabo coach party, they listen to our social media. The pressure is there because the fans, they want a start. Sometimes fans, they want a start. What if he puts one there and things don't work out? The same fans. It could do that.
I want to ask you a question. If you could also just off Rempanyan, if you could also, do you get rid of Temba's one? Or do you try get rid of Temba's one? End of the season, let's say everything is done. Do you try get rid of him? I know he signed the contract extension, but do you push because you're seeing that noise, man?
I will a good coach that trust and you want to instill discipline and you want to make a big statement. I would OT without even thinking about it. I would get rid of him. It happened to Kekan. Kekan was the captain of that team when I think Rulani. He got rid of Kekan, and Kekan was not finished at that time. So sometimes, in order for you to get even respect from mama players to say, I'm the boss here. If I can get rid of Uzwane, which is anybody is not safe in this team. I think that would be a good statement if I was him, and the fans too. Because now the fans are taking advantage of that. How can you bench a player like Zwane that have been there, a Sundowns, but the same Zwane never features quick last final when Sundowns won in CAF. It was all Biliati. I think at some point Zwane was coming from loan with Black Aces. Zwane never participated with CAF when Sundowns. But people are saying now he has a CAF experience final. Where's the final? Where's the experience? The only experience they have is semi-finals. That's the only experience they will have.
To go back to the game,
those players have a final.
No. I was saying to go back to the game, like you're saying, how much of this becomes experience versus a new team? Because Pyramids is new to this. They're still playing with that energy, man. And then Sundowns, Kihrot, man. Do you think that that's going to play into this and the way that the two teams play this game?
I think those are two different teams, more similar because the owners, they both have owners that have invested so much money and banalanto ambition. The ambition is the same, but the pressure. I don't think Pyramid has the same pressure that Sundowns has because the Sundowns have been there about 8 times. They've been there about 8 times, and we saw how Uba Motsepe invested in injection that he put for those players to win in CAF. So the pressure is different. That would be the only difference because those players is their first finale, and the Emma fans are, I think, I-15. So there's no bad is putting pressure. That's how they won, even against Pirates. If you saw when they played Pirates, they play like they are just playing J. That's how they are winning games. They are just playing J. That to me, that's the only difference. OT. The other one is just playing, and the other one.
Time.
And you must remember, OT.
Oh, time, my Motaza.
Just a second. You must remember, OT. The Arabs don't care about win or lose. To them, who invest with football, it's like having a lion in your house. So it's just a hobby to them. So that's the pressure that I'm talking about.
Let me go to Lee. Lee, welcome to the show. How are you?
I'm fine. Thanks, my brother. How are you?
I'm good. Lee, 1-1. Cairo, how do you feel about this game?
You know, OT, when you analyze the game, my biggest worry is Ronwen Williams. You know, in this game of caliber, OT, you cannot be like take at the ball and doing like things like to impress the fans. Because my belief is that Ronwen is supposed to be organizing the defense. And in the last moments, what happened? The defense was nowhere to be found.
Yeah.
You see. So I think this game is psychological, OT. It's not about what the coach puts on paper or tactical or anything, but it is for the players not to make mistakes.
Okay.
If you check OT, like in the World Cup, they will tell you that even from the build-up, how the players walk in the pitch will tell you if the team will win or not. So that's my biggest worry, Oti. Hence, I always prefer Dennis Onyango over Ronwen. Because I think that's where the experience comes in. Because Onyango, yes, may be old, but is very, very focused OT. Then I think at the same time, that's where Themba Zwane can come in OT. Not with the experience of playing CAF, but the experience of being the coach. The captain.
The captain.
Just to motivate the boys. You see, OT. Because for me, I don't see Mamelodi Sundowns losing this game in terms of being outplayed. But it just is a psychological game of which we really we need to push our boys to do extra in terms of mentality and everything, OT.
I want to ask you on that point. How much pressure is on Sundowns, and do you think that it's the same pressure that has maybe killed Sundowns before? I mean, we saw, like I mentioned, Coach Rulani, he was freezing. He would freeze in the game at some point, and he wasn't the same coach. Ukadoso, I mean, it's a similar situation. I think Dad was 2-2, and then you had to go play away or something like that. Is it the same type of thing? Are you scared of that?
No, OT, yes, with our coach, there's something that I like about Gattuso is that he has plan A and plan B. I think maybe with us, with the fans, when we're not satisfied with the results, we just put more pressure on the coach.
Yeah.
But tactically, I'm not worried about that. Even with the subs and everything, I think I would let go of what he did with putting Mayema. I think it was more of like just playing mind games. But unfortunately, it did not work. You see, because with Rulani's style of play, it was not something that you would be surprised, even as a fan. You know what he's going to do. But with Eclis Gattuso, knows how to analyze the game, knows how to strategize around the game. And then with the pressure of us, like which is 1-1, I'm not worried as much, OT, because I would be worried if it was 1-0, which because the pyramids was going to kill us. I don't want to lie, OT, because at least now it's a 50-50 game.
Yeah.
They won't attack much. They will be very cautious that they know that Mamelodi Sundowns is not there to play. You see, then they will have that thing of saying, "Oh, okay, we defend, play counter attacks."
Yeah.
So I don't think there will be. It won't be an open game. My opinion. I don't think it will be an open game. Maybe for the first 20 minutes, maybe just to get an early goal, then defend. I don't know.
Will it come down to a lucky goal?
Probably. But I trust my team, OT. I know Sundowns will do its best. Just that we always, I think we are very arrogant, OT. I don't want to lie. We are very arrogant, like Mamelodi Sundowns. We, even us as fans sometimes, because when you score that goal, like we don't have that mentality that, oh, okay, anything could happen. This is football. Yeah, OT.
Okay, no, Lee, thank you so much. Let me go to Umqo. Umqo, welcome to the show. How are you?
Thank you, Oti. How are you?
I'm good. Umqo, how do you feel about this game?
Oh yeah, Oti, I feel like the first leg for Mamelodi Sundowns was a blessing in disguise. And the reason I say this is because they've made a lot of mistakes in that game. And simply because they thought they were the superior team. Somehow, they forgot that when you are playing in CAF, you need your best soldiers and you need to be at your best as well. So I feel like it was a blessing in disguise because if you checked as well, in the 30th minute or so, they had to make a substitution. And in the second half, that's when they started to gel. But still, they made a blunder at the end. So if you play like that in your first leg, then it then allows you to go to the second leg and be like, guys, we are Mamelodi Sundowns. We need to get rid of these silly mistakes and make sure that we give 110%. That's why I'm saying I actually believe that it was a wake-up call in that first leg. Even though a lot of people are saying Sundowns is going to take it, I don't think it's going to be easy. I anticipate war. And simply because Pyramids feels like they've won the first leg. We speak about the away goal. And if you are a traveling team and then you manage to get that one goal, you obviously feel like you are a step ahead than the other team. So what you need to do at home is to make sure that your defensive is, your structure is very solid and you don't make any mistakes. But again, versus a team like Mamelodi Sundowns, it's going to be tough for Pyramids. But Sundowns should expect more as well because those guys are not going to make it easy for them, especially knowing that they have a goal in hand. So it's going to be very tough.
Can I ask you an unfair question? What is it about South African teams that it seems like when we get to this level, we tend to make the mistake, the telling mistake in these games, or we try something new in these games? What is it about South African teams when they get there?
If I can speak about Mamelodi Sundowns, I think the mistake again that they made is the quality that they have. They trust so much in the quality and they've proven already that they are capable of winning this thing and even domestically they are performing very well. So I think the mistake that they made is believing that it's going to be easier for them. I don't know about Mamelodi. I mean, like Orlando Pirates and Kaizer Chiefs because they don't have the experience that Sundowns have. But that's why I'm saying in the first leg, it was just silly mistakes, and it come from knowing that we are more experienced than Pyramids. We've been in this stage for a very long time, so it's going to be maybe easier for us. And Pyramids proved to be very tough for them. And it was more like a surprise to even, all of us, because we were like, guys, Sundowns is not playing. 25 minutes is gone. 30 minutes is gone. We don't see what these guys are doing. Kanti, I feel like the coach of Mamelodi Sundowns believed so much into his team, and even the players. They thought because of the experience that they have, it's going to be easier for them. But it's CAF OT. It's CAF. Surprises are always there.
How hard is it to play an underdog? Because you're mentioning Chiefs. Chiefs made it all the way to a final in a transfer ban. We were just chasing everything. How hard is it? And do you think it adds to the pressure that Sundowns has to play on?
It does. And let's just say it here, the underdog is Pyramid. Mamelodi Sundowns is not the underdog. Pyramids is the underdog. So it's very hard for them. And this is what I'm going to say when I OT. I am scared for Mamelodi Sundowns. And the reason I'm scared for them is because if a team managed to get that one goal to convince them that this is winnable, second leg they're going to come out guns blazing, and now it's going to be more harder for you because they managed to defend you in the first leg. So I think Pyramids is going to fight Mamelodi Sundowns. Mamelodi Sundowns might have to bring everything to Pyramids. Don't go there thinking that you are Mamelodi Sundowns, you've been here before. No, go there and be like, we are here. It's 11 of us. It's 11 of them.
Respect them.
Everything out to them. Respect them. Give them that respect. They've shown that, look, we can surprise you.
Yeah.
They've actually surprised a lot of us as South Africans to be like, is this the same guys that were playing Orlando Pirates conceding now and then? You see, when they play Mamelodi Sundowns, they seem to be more stable. They seem to have like a lot of stability in all these other areas. And I was like, no, man, Sundowns need to come up with something new here to make sure that they win this. We want them to win.
For time over the champion, let me bring in Upilani. Pilani, welcome to the show, my brother. Unjani?
Mina ngifuna ukubuza.
Nazo.
Ibox discipline malini, guys.
Ibox discipline akwazi.
How much is discipline? Because the way I'm corner, I'm seeing chest pains tomorrow. And then this is the theory that I was talking about on the 9th of May. There's a quote that pretty much like sums up Mamelodi Sundowns right now and their position, and it's that use the fact that you are unknown to your advantage.
Yeah.
Now, what does this mean? It pretty much means Uguti, from Mamelodi Sundowns' side, they've got all the data on the Pyramids compared to Mamelodi Sundowns. Pyramids has got all of the data that they have on Mamelodi Sundowns and how they play, as well as like how they attack and how they defend. And now Mamelodi Sundowns, yes, the only history and the only data that they've had was looking at previous games within the CAF Champions League.
Yeah.
But from the way that I see the fixture going is that Pyramids and Mamelodi Sundowns they are pretty much like equal in terms of like their gameplay.
Okay.
The majority of the time they play you through the middle. It's usually like helicopter ball every once in a while. Both sides have got very, very clinical strikers. They've got very clinical forwards, and the defense but they are not as tested. So. And another thing, Oguti, Mamelodi Sundowns, this is actually like the second time that they've been in a similar position, because the last time that they're in this position was against Makis, and we all know what happened. So in thing is Sabayo, a lot of people are pretty much like dismissing the Pyramids, but then the fighting spirit of the Pyramids, not in terms of like the tactics, but then how they carry themselves and the body language of their team. It's scary. It's very scary.
So then I wanna get into some of the technical approaches. What are some of the weaknesses that Sundowns have that maybe Pyramids can take advantage of, in your eyes?
I would say they wing backs. I would say they wing backs because early in the season I did say Guti Mamelodi Sundowns was playing a similar game to Bayern Munich in that inverted 4-4-2 where it's two center backs and then four in the middle and then four in front. So when they play that, when they play that, the defense becomes way too stretched. And the Pyramids, as far as I can see, Pyramids, should Sundowns play that way, Pyramids is just gonna sit back and they're gonna break out with the counter. You know, so for me, like the biggest weakness is that Sundowns defense. So in order for Sundowns to win this game, they have to like dump down, you know, their style. Usually Sundowns likes to play they like to play like a very, very passing style, dominating the field and whatnot. But then I think Sundowns has to approach the game like the boiling frog analogy, where like you start cold and then as the game goes in, they increase the intensity, they increase the pressure, but they don't increase the pressure like going out fires blazing, but they increase the pressure in being like way more clinical and being like way more decisive. You know, so Sundowns has to be very efficient in order for them to win. Should they not do that, I think like from the 65th minute going on, the pressure is going to be very huge on both teams actually. You know, so
Okay. Let me jump in for time. Let me bring in Mike. Mike, welcome to the show. How are you?
My brother unjani?
Man ngimnandi Mike.
Ngiyabonga mfethu ukuthi yeah. Ngiyabonga mfethu ukuthi ngibe yi-part of the panel and share my knowledge here and there. Yeah, I'm a Sundowns supporter and I see us taking the second star. As we know that Cairo is where we grind our stars. So in Cairo is where we take our stars. Yeah, talking about the game, first leg we've done so many mistakes, of which we are privileged to see. We are privileged to Africa in the first and second leg due to the travelings. So of which this one will give Ukado also an ample time to rectify my mistakes. So okay. But looking at the game for Sunday, I see Sundowns winning it 2-1 because you would know what the pyramid it plays. Remember the first leg and second leg is semi-final. Bahlukumeza ibhakaniya yabo, so bona bayahlukumeza bra. So if Ukadoso can just honor Umshishi, putting in Umshishi in the second half, maybe for him. Remember, as the captain, he's been with the team prior 2016. He knows how to grind. He's been there, even though Batisangena Ngembobo 2016, but we've taken the first star. Yeah, but
window, man.
Yeah. So yeah. Oh, like yeah. So yeah. Looking at Sunday's game, I mean, it should be like a preseason for us. Remember that we are going for
the Club World
Cup.
Yeah.
It's a preseason prior Club World Cup. Yeah. So we need to show off we are really champions. We are not there just to add numbers, and we need to approach the game with respect knowing ukuthi pyramid they are very dangerous.
Yeah.
Relax. But I also say it was good for a pyramid to score because this is relax, a bit reluctant. It's over. It's not over until the fat lazy sings, Baba.
Manje,
So, yeah,
on that
we are
point,
taking it. The second star is ours.
I wanted to ask you on that point. Obviously, Pirates, Sundowns, they play in a league where man, itreta iko second half. Most of the teams are dead by then. Do you think that that might be something that Sundowns has to look out for? The fact that man, consider 90 plus 4 in the last game, if Pirates consider 80. Do you worry that maybe they might fall asleep and get caught?
Actually, that was a good experience to experience that because when you play the game, you need to be alert the whole 90-minute plus. So knowing what is correct, we were thinking what now the game is wrapped. But I think we need to play more of our ball, not managing by putting more defense, managing by, Coach Pitso once said, the best way to defend is to be offensive.
Yeah.
So we need to hit the net. Reyners should be starting with Ushalulile, Ganjalo. We will be giving a headache ama defenders we pyramid and Ribeiro comes as a 10 abe ne free role if afuna ukuye side if afuna ukulandela ama strikers because it's there for the taking, my brother.
Okay.
So
okay.
Yeah, that's my 2 cents knowledge.
No, welcome to the family.
Thanks,
you are
bro.
inside now. Thank you so much. Okay, guys, we're gonna go into the second last panel of the night. I just wanted to say something. My fears for this game, I've got a couple of them. One of my fears is that when you play an underdogs, man, you're not expecting it. They're there for the first time. They've got adrenaline. They're running. They're doing all of these things. They're not thinking too hard. They're playing. Sometimes playing those type of teams is very tough. I've often said that there's been places where you might think that Sundowns might be overthinking this thing when they get to the final, right? So it's one of those things where you go, maybe Sundowns is too much in its head and they're playing versus a team that is not in its head at all. You're a boxer and you're fighting somebody on the street. It just takes one punch from somebody who's not falling for you to fall. That's one of the things. Number two, I think Pyramids brings a sort of pressure that other teams don't normally bring. I pointed out to Libusa that there were moments in that first half where Pyramids was able to get him 1v1 and Maele maybe messed up a couple of chances in the first half of that first game where you don't want to give them too many of those chances, especially because Caruso, for some reason, decided to play almost like a front four, front five. And then the gap between the front guys, the midfield and the defense was so big. Utebza had to do a lot of work in the midfield by himself. And Pyramids is not a team that's afraid of attacking. So you don't want to give them too many chances, as Pirates found out. Then, of course, the big thing for me, the last thing before I let in the next panel, guys, the Champions League sometimes is not even about tactics. Sometimes it's about who can stay on for the longest. Like how long can you hold on when doing something? And that 90 plus 4 scared me because that's how these games are won and lost. If you think about it's these last minute goals that kill our teams. So hopefully they can stay awake for the whole game and not get caught out. Let me bring in Shamase. Shamase, welcome to the show. How are you? Mina ngimnandi man phela makuphela isizini we are fans of football bathi ngesilungu we are fans of football.
George, no.
Yini uminyile?
Top 8 awukho.
Yeah, that's why
I don't need to tell you.
Fan of football. Awusangitsheli nge-Chiefs. The Chiefs ngizayibona 1 month from now. So much inspiration about this game.
Mr. OT. Hey, yabo njengamanje I'm very, very panicking. Yeah, panic because we are the best defending team in Africa. And
Yeah.
we're facing the best attacking team in Africa.
Yeah.
So, ukade also first half of the first game, wenza kahle ukuthi bengacross amabhola, they must come direct. Angazi wayiyekaphi second half because the direct football iyabahlula, they are good in aerial. So umuntu onjengoshalulile egamini kanje kufanele ebe ne-support ka-Rangers at some point. Even if you can look at Umfukeni no Makgopa.
Okay.
Makgopa holds the ball for Umfukeng and then lays it out.
Yeah.
So at some point, mina where I'm view, if it's gonna try to goal
Hey
first
guys,
half,
please mute when you come in. Please mute when you come in, guys. Please.
into engizama ukuyisho Mr. OT, if singathola i-goal first half, then I'm sorry about that.
No stress, no stress.
Singakwazi ukuthi awusengiyayibiza umshishi sim-introduce egamini so he can hold the game.
Yeah.
Get ball position akwazi ukuyi-contain because at this moment kuleya game lesayidraw angithi esayidliwa siyidrawanga la game sadliwa because they are leading ngo-1-0. If uCardoso wa-introduce umshishi at the 75 minutes, we could have won the game because every team, whenever umshishi engene Africa, they fall back. They do not offense. If ungabuyi game ye-Al Ahly, wangena umshishi and then they fall back. Bahlehla bonke. Like wasala one person. So uCardoso u-overthinka kakhulu azayidide yena. We confuse yena.
Mara Shamase, mara nawe ngathi uya-overthinka lento. Aboshalulile nabozwane bebangangeni. They haven't been playing the whole season. Why niba creative masenifika la? Yini ni cheka kangaka?
No, mina for one, I recommend you can't change the lineup kama last minute. Like, to be honest, Ebeya Pumayem on that game. A very tactical game, and Motsepe bega lamachita e pyramid. They're too strong. Bafuna abantu abanjengo Obas, abantu abazobakhahlela. That game needed abantu nje to bulldoze them, sibakhahlele one way, bengezi kithi. But we allowed them because thina sipula umuntu oyi-1 if you noticed.
Yeah.
Yamula umfana uTraore lo onomdledlezane la ekhanda. That boy killed us. Ngama long ball akhe. I killed us. So I wish uAlend engaba more offensive than being defensive.
Mara, why don't you guys play a game and benidala Adams, Alend, Mokwena, RMR Pambili? Why are we not playing that game, man? Why is this everybody's talking about different things?
No. Coach wethu usesididile kwanathi. We all confused at this moment. Yabona, it's better for una because akasayinanga muntu. Tina, we have players but sididekile. Yes, sididekile. We clueless with what are we doing as the Sundowns.
Marawa
we can't be praising ukuthi. Yes?
Marawa ifake team yami.
No, isibonelo esiseduzane. So what I'm trying to say is izokutshela lento ukuthi you can win a game ngokuthi ucreate 975 passes a game. One thing rest assured, i-goal elicountayo. Only goals. So if we can have that Rulani Mokwena's vision of kill the game face off and then play the football second.
Okay, okay. For time, I'm going to jump in. Let me bring in Msiana. Msiana, as a victim of pyramids, Nyadala, welcome. How are you? Which number? Nami bangidubule nje ngizimele sayidini. I have to shoot someone. But as long as hurt people. Msiana. Msiana, welcome.
Let me start first to greeting you. OT, how can you let someone here say pyramids play like skukuni?
I get it again.
OT, yeah, that's wrong. That's wrong. How can you compare pyramids to iskukuni? What you did was wrong here.
Hey, don't say me. I just facilitate.
OT. You should have OT. First time as you mentioned iskukuni and the pyramids in the same topic. Gag. It's like comparing, it's like mentioning the Chiefs and Pirates at the same topic. Never do that again.
Guys, why are we talking about Chiefs, guys? Please leave Chiefs alone, please. Oh.
Hey, OT.
Yeah.
OT, I think I was here on the panel on Monday. And I've said I'm a pretty big fan of the pyramids. And I'm a fan not for the reason of the Minyeli Sundowns or don't want Sundowns to win.
Yeah.
I've been a pyramid fan before they played the Sundowns because the pyramids play the type of football which I like.
Yeah.
You see, they play attacking football and they don't hold back. They don't hold back, unlike your typical North African teams, whereby they score a goal and then sit back and try to be tactical and very defensive. So pyramids, they have a different style of play, and they're attacking team. Even on Sunday, OT, even on Sunday, pyramids will go and try to score goals. Pyramids won't go there with a defensive set of mind. They'll go there and try to score goals, and they will score goals. OT.
Yeah.
Because Sundowns is not that sharp, as we knew them in defense. So and the pyramids. Ngiyabona abantu be-Sundowns la bayasaba amakwala man. Amakwala. They are so confident into going into the game, but abantu are busy changing ama-lineups la. Hayi, mabeqala ubani. Not trusting the players that they started because they saw in that game, in that Saturday game, ukuthi i-pyramids ayi-team yokudlala. Ayi-team yokudlala i-pyramids. Ayisikhukhuni i-pyramids.
But then can I ask you? Can I ask you, how much of an advantage is it to pyramids that we are all expecting them to play their football? They've been playing their football all season long, and we hear Sundowns trying to adapt to that. How much of an advantage is it to pyramids that they're the ones that are maybe changing what Sundowns is doing? If that makes sense.
Not clear enough. I heard the first part, but the last end I did not understand.
I'm saying pyramids is not changing for Sundowns, but it seems like we are having a conversation that Sundowns must change to play pyramids. Wouldn't it be better for Sundowns to play Sundowns football versus pyramids playing their pyramids football? Because the last time a South African team tried to change, you guys got beaten by pyramids going back and forth with them. Who has the advantage here? Do you think that Sundowns? Yeah.
Pirates, man.
I need to you in the previous game.
Going into this game, I think there was nothing wrong from the first game from the Sundowns. There was nothing wrong, but most people say Umshiji wouldn't have had value in that game. But I tend to disagree with that because I believe Umshishi, if ever he came in, he would have brought in the Sundowns would have had more possession, more control of the game, and more fluency. Utembazwane brings in something that other players do not bring in Sundowns. Of which when Sundowns play, I remember watching the game Yemagesi. Utembazwane came in and changed the game completely. The Sundowns became fluent. Bapasa, like the old Sundowns I know, the Shushain and Piano. So Utembazwane, no more Utembazwane, he didn't play the whole season. He wara whatever. Utembazwane brings in a type of thing you don't know.
Sian. Time. Hey, Mar. Hey, you guys. Why do you want to add points at the end? For time, I'm going to jump in. I'm going to jump in. Let me figure the box. Champ?
Yes, champ.
Oh, champ, man. Rico holiday Rona. We can analyze without emotions. We want to join game in a box.
Before we can, do you have the number service copies?
Regarding
all right. They are talking for these delusional fans that Sundowns who believe that they are bringing the star back home. Have they not seen the game between Pirates and the Pyramids? Have they not even analyzed Pyramids high? How do they play at home?
Yeah.
This is not a typical Pyramids. They think Pyramids looks like Abos Kukuni, trying to say, hey, this Kukuni. They just run for 90 minutes. Don't they realize for every one goal as Sundowns have to go, Pyramids will be scoring 2?
Yeah.
Sundowns don't even have a chance. Even if they bring Tambazwani, who I don't think, who I believe who is finished. Zwani is finished. He's not gonna do anything in that game. He's not gonna do anything in that game. They can try whatever they like. At this point, permutations say Pyramids are 1 foot to the cup.
Heaven.
Sundowns are just fooling themselves and trying to put Kaizer Chiefs into the equation. How to forget about Kaizer Chiefs, guys.
Mara Bones, what do you say to the people that say that Sundowns is far more experienced? Well, in comparison to Pyramids, they're far more experienced at this stage of the competition. Surely that should count for something.
Experience for winning one cup final by getting Bafitlem back door because of AS Vita's mistake. Then they think they have experience. If they did have experience, they would be 7-time champions by now. What's about down so? Delusional. They need help. They really need help.
Bugs, I want to ask you.
Football.
Yeah.
I want to support the Sundowns.
Hey, but
how you play for football? I want to support the
Sundowns. Today. Can I want to ask you something, Bugs. Reboni Pirates Chincha, the way that they've been playing Ijiwa. We know with us when we got to the final, all of a sudden they decided to put Stuart Baxter in. Caruso experiment. What is it about South African teams? Hase ba fitla ko staging sena or ba batla go experiment?
This is a hard question that you're asking. The experimentation thing never works. They should just stick to what worked in the past rather than just changing. Because choving and changing things doesn't help. Because now confuse the players. Bring a new Nedbank Cup finale or who got you to the final and also change her further. Pirates should have not changed how they played. They could have just scored those 2 goals and just defended and just used the South African low block and bars. They could have won that game. Now Sundowns score 1 high, defend. Then they call themselves experienced. They're doing the same thing they did when they didn't get to the final last season.
They made it worse last season. It about drink about This time, Pyramids are just gonna defend, and they'll know even if they play 0-0, they've won the cup.
Okay. Bongs, what happens to Cardoso if he loses this? Do you think he still gets another season for the last minute here?
Yeah, he can get another season. I don't think Cardoso is a bad coach. But this time, it will his style of play because if he tell Lori, Sundowns to Ibilele, the president directly Mangoba, specifically for Mangoba.
Okay.
Now, Otakona Reka player tse suitan yena, Rebon Riena na, Auto driver, the Sundowns ship, Juan.
Okay. For time, I'm going to jump in. I'm going to let you go.
We failed to qualify for top 8. We don't care about top 8. We are going to the Confederations Cup, Rona.
Bongs, for time, I'm going to let you go to the comments. Let me bring in Lebza. Lebza, welcome to the show. How are you?
Mr. OT.
Yeah.
I think it's gonna be the second time where I say you reducing us to mediocrity by allowing the comments it's no. But anyway, I'm not gonna dwell on that. I'm in the CAF Champions League final. I'm gonna focus on important things. I mean, football is a game of opportunities, and an opportunity might open and we score, we salvage the game, and we get 1-1. I heard about Tobare, when we score, Pyramid scores 2, whatever, like that happened with Pirates. We are not Pirates. And we're gonna play our football. The team is in good spirits. I've been checking what they've been saying in their videos. The fans are in good spirits. They're praying for the team, and I fully believe that we are ready for this moment. Away, we've been quite good. So I firmly believe that the team now is in the right state of mind to go there, hold the game, and get maybe a goal towards Buma 70 minutes or so. So
I like what you're saying there.
I'm very excited. Yeah.
I like what you're saying there, Lebs. I want to stick on that point. Is the key to this game patience and nerve instead of trying to overwhelm the other team?
One thing I've learned about Cardoso is that he's a very patient man. So he's willing to wait out a result. And I'm fairly confident that he's going to wait out to the right moment to try and salvage something. So I'm not too worried about the final. I mean, like there is a possibility of either one of the result, a win or a loss. But I'm in a position where I feel that we are doing everything right this season in CAF Champions League, and we should be able to come back home with the trophy. And yeah, we're getting our boys back from the airport.
Well, what do you say to the point, and this is just a general question, what do you say to the point of, Sundowns has played a specific way with specific players this whole time, and now we are asking for different players to come in? How do you feel about those comments that are made by some of the fans, some of the other people that watch the football?
No, the thing is also an expectation was set because Coach Cardoso has been introducing Themba Zwane in the later stages of the games.
That's true.
So when substitutions were coming, people were anticipating that Themba Zwane is feared in North Africa. And as soon as he comes on, the same way with Ribeiro, he's going to be assigned 2 defenders or 3. And they won't be attacking as much because they will be focused on making sure that he's closed down. So in a way, I don't blame people for requesting for Themba Zwane. What I do not like is the fact that it's setting up I don't want to say a bad atmosphere at the club because the coach is now under pressure. Do I play Tembazwani or do I not play him? I don't play him and I lose, then I've got an egg in my face. That's an immediate termination. I play him and I lose. I ignore my own guards. Then we don't win the trophy. Then what? Do I say to the people that I succumbed to the pressure of the fans and played Tembazwani? So it's creating animosity in a way between Tembazwani and the coach, because it's going to be caught between the rock and a hard place. And we as the fans can't ignore the fact that Tembazwani, well, I'm the same age as him, so it feels bad saying he's old, but yeah, so, but yeah, he needs to be used sparingly. So it's it's a bit of a touch and go subject. But for me, I've learned to trust Coach Cardoso. So whatever decision he takes, I'm pretty sure it's informed by something that he has perceived on the pitch. So if it doesn't go our way, it's fine. But I've learned to trust his decision making. And we are the PSL champions 8 times in a row.
Yeah.
We are the Club World Cup bound team. We are the CAF Champions League finalists. So I'm happy with the season so far.
Okay.
Anything that happens after that is a bonus.
For time, we're going to jump in. Guys, after this, we're going to go into the last panel. So please request. I saw some people request and leave. We still have one more panel left. Let me go to Ray. Ray, welcome to the show, champ.
Yo, Mr. Oti, champ, how are you?
I'm good, but champ, hey, off-season. Ray, how do you see this?
Yeah, yo, it's going to be tough.
Yeah.
Yo, it's going to be tough, Mr. Oti. Yeah. Yo, premiership. That is going to destroy Sundowns. Hey, yeah. I heard like they're saying, no, we want Temazane, we want Peter Shamuli. Yeah. Not la mamingile, Mr. Oti. Mamingile la man. But yeah, so today, they won't make it out today.
Yeah.
Yeah. If you stop my it's going to score 3 goals. I'm telling you. 3 goals. It's going to be 3-0 there.
Okay, can I ask you, Ray? If Sundowns loses, let's say by something happens, Sundowns loses, is it time for Sundowns to look at itself and say, hey, yeah, we've been the best or one of the better teams in African football. We've been close to this thing so many times. Is it now time to ask serious questions? There, go.
Yeah, to be honest, yes, Mr. Oti, because these people, they've been fighting, man, Sundowns. But the players, if they don't win this game, they have themselves to blame. To be honest, because like how many times have they tried quarterfinal, semi-final? Like I heard that they want to go back to Rulani style. No, Rulani utsamayile. Guys, they must trust Mikel Cardoso. Hey, Mikel Cardoso mingile naye. Lapha khona umingile uthi uyazi uthi hey lapha ukushubile lapha. But to be honest, Mr. Oti, if they don't win this one, they have themselves to blame, because like you can't always keep trying and trying, like telling people no, we will do well, because this is their last opportunity, Mr. Oti. Let's be honest. It's their last opportunity, because I think next season a lot of teams will improve more, because Ahly, they are like, also I can see them, they're improving. They got Josie. And also they got new quality players, quality players. So it's going to be tough next season. So the way I see it, it's their last chance, Mr. Oti. They need to win this one, or one.
Should they go back to the team they've been playing the whole season? We know what the starting lineup has been up to this point. Should they just go back to that and see out that game?
Yes, Mr. Oti. Why not? Why not? But I've been saying, like, Sundowns, like I did say it, when was it last week, that Sundowns wasn't tested in the Betway League. Was I wrong? Was I wrong, Mr. OT? They were not tested. They were busy winning 5 games in a row. Not 0 shot on target. 0 shot on target. 1 shot on target against, in my case, Richards Bay Golden Arrows. Amateam Swag. Low block. Manje, they got a team that is in their level. Manje, bona sibayakhala wathi, hey, sifuna uZwane, hey, sifuna uPeter Shawilile, hey, sifuna banibani, hey. Hey, baba zabuya labo CAF. Hey, zabuya labo. Hey. Yes.
Okay. For time, I'm gonna jump in. Guys, feel free to request. Kanti masanda wana la cheka today. What's happening? Let's have a talk so that we can speak. Hey, man, on a Friday. The game is on Sunday, guys. You'll check tomorrow. Mike, welcome back. Mike, welcome back. Hey, what's happening now? Okay, so I'm gonna jump in. So as I was saying, guys, I think the issue for me is what scares me. What scares me is when you start seeing people acting out of what they normally act like when they get here. So, for example, I'm looking at the fans right now and everybody's speaking about different things. And I'm like, man, this is not the Sandawana fans that I know. These aren't the guys that I know. You know, Lebza was the closest, but you guys are shaking there in the comments. Some of the things that are being said, they're trying to be radical. And I think that is something that has haunted Mamelodi Sundowns, I think, since they won it in 2016. That they get here and then it's like, okay, now the pressure of the final, the pressure of the semi-finals sits on you, and now you want to try new things. You want to bring in Temba's one and do this one, and Shaluli Lema start with Reynolds and da-da-da and da-da-da. I think half of what you just need to do here is you just continue doing what you're doing. Pyramids got here playing this exciting, attacking, overly confident football. It got them to the final. It got them a 1-1 versus Sundowns. Maybe they tweaked it a little bit. You know, they should be the ones shaking right now. They should be the ones going into this game saying we're going to play versus Mamelodi Sundowns. But why is it, man, that Mamelodi Sundowns is the one shaking? You know what I loved about Mamelodi Sundowns this season, especially in the knockouts? You guys were the Khrotmane. At no point when you were playing versus Ahly did it feel like Ahly was going to win that game. Like, it didn't feel like, it felt like eventually, I'm starting to get the vibes, guys, this game is going to be a little bit too much for Sundowns. And to be fair, I said this last season that, honestly, I don't think there's anything wrong with Sundowns. I don't think Sundowns has lost in these knockouts because they were outplayed or out-tacticked. I don't think it was any of those things that beat Sundowns. What basically happened is that Sundowns, there were 1 or 2 moments where you guys let it slip, and then that's what cost you. And I think Cardoso's biggest job was to come in and say, can I get this team to focus for 97 minutes? Can I get this team to focus for all of that time? And I'm liking what you guys are saying here. I'm looking at what Fortune is saying. The last minute goal traumatized you. Guys, you can't be traumatized now, guys. You're looking the star in the eyes. And what's insane is that I know Sundowns has been one of the leading teams in Africa, the more leading South African team in recent memory in that tournament. But it's like you guys are acting almost the same way as the other teams that have gotten to this point and done this. I think about Kaizer Chiefs. Kaizer Chiefs was winning ugly and winning ugly and winning ugly. Sashabo with that, Sashabo, Petro, Sasha, all of these things. By the time you get to the final, now you want to bring in Baxter and you want to do all of these funny things because you feel as though now it's a final. Continue doing what you were doing. You see, if Pyramids tomorrow comes out and continues doing what it was doing the whole time, then you should shake. Sunday, the whole time. Then you should shake because they're not going to change how they play. Your best hope, I think, in Cairo is for Pyramids, for the pressure. You know, we know away goal rule gives you some power. But I want to know, like, can you come into the game and look pyramids in the eye and say, no, we're going to play Sundowns' game. TTP show. Lindo, welcome.
Shapunjana utyam.
Magimnandi man.
Hayi ndoda, accepte fast ndoda. Ha.
Aw, angithi ubonile ungena ngale. Lindo, ngitsheleke game man. Where do you think this game is going?
My God, Jesus me. Interesting game in Egypt. But Mamelodi Sundowns, the last time they won this trophy, George, they won it away.
Yeah.
And if there's one team that has the ability, more especially in the group of players, I trust those players. There was a period last season where we didn't have mokwena in this period. So to have Utebza in that space, to have Aselo Allende playing at his best, to have Lucas Ribeiro scoring goals, picking his moments. Some of the best players in the world, they pick their moments. Football is played. Yes, it's played for 90 minutes, but you might not be effective. Sometimes so Lucas knows how to pick his moments in the game. That's one thing I like. More especially last week, he was off. He didn't have the best of games. But the one thing that I always needed from him, away from his brilliance and his individual brilliance and the tactical work that he does without the ball, because he's not given credit for his work without the ball. I think he works extremely hard. Tito Maswangai Pirates. I don't think people speak about how hard he works, So Lucas Ribeiro gives you that aspect. But what I needed from him, George, was more of him, showing up in games where Mamelodi Sundowns need him the most. And last week, I think he scored an important goal for his Sundowns. So you go into
Mara Lindo, why Nimbega right? Why Nimbega right? I don't understand. Why all of a sudden you are reverting back to last season?
You know what? Initially, George, he was at the tip of the diamond because we were playing with two split strikers. And one of the coaches that don't get credit for that is Ufatu Davies. Actually, Ufatu Davies, when he was still at Maritzburg, he used to get criticized for playing two split strikers. And we at the time, in South Africa, in the media or, even till today, in my opinion, there's no analysis. Instead of analysis, we've got commentary, in my opinion. We talk over things in most of the platforms that we are on. And if we were to do proper analysis, George, which is something that I do on a day-to-day basis, it's very detailed work. It's like literally detailed work. So my bigger point is for him, I prefer him playing on the right, to be honest with you.
Really?
But yeah, and I've got my own reasons, George. Because for me, I believe that he plays completely different when he plays on the right. Because when you play him in midfield, you are giving him another responsibility without a ball. Remember, football is played in two different ways, George. It's either you have the ball or you have the space, right? If you don't have the ball, you have the space. So if you're going to play him in midfield, you know that you're going to sacrifice a body without the ball, more especially in your rest defense. So you must pick where you must open and you must pick where you must close. In football, you can't close everywhere. So
Mara, why ni pika manje? Beningayipiki season lonke, but now you get here and we are now experimenting.
George, tactically, look at how they use him. If they're using him in midfield, they use him at the tip of the diamond, not in a 3. They will never use him in a 3. They will use him at the tip of the diamond where there's an extra cover. If they will use him in a 3 in midfield, trust me, they will invert a fullback to create a 4. They will always have that body. You understand? If they don't do that, they will invert a winger. Maybe the one who plays in the wing, maybe Tembazwane will play that old Tembazwane role where he plays on the left, the winger that doesn't cross.
Then he cuts in,
If a winger doesn't cross, he's almost like a number 10 because he plays on the inside most of the time. You understand?
False 9. False 9 RMR.
You are limiting him because he helps you build a process. He can smell when the team is in danger, and then he gets into areas where he can play behind the press. And immediately when he plays behind the press, when he receives the ball, he's got the ability of picking a pass. He's got an unbelievable passing range. He can pick a short pass. He can pick those defense splitting pass. There's this pass I shy I forgot this game where passes space Reina Ashafia near one touch finish. That pass, George, Jesus me, you know.
Yeah.
So he's got that vision. He can drive with the ball to progress maybe 10 meters a little bit high, and then he's got a special pass in him. He can minus 1 or 2. He's got an eye for a combination play. He can finish from distance. You know, he's an exceptional player. He's not complete, but he's an exceptional footballer. But I don't want to be having this conversation about Ribeiro because on Sunday he might not turn up, but he might score an important goal for Sundowns. But my bigger point is I want to speak about the defense. The defense is crucial because we've seen Khuliso Mdao having one of the best games, I think, of the season, in my opinion, from a defensive perspective. Won all these duels. I think he was very arrogant. Reminds me of OJ playing on the right. Not OJ, but him, OJ, in a sense of
how he plays.
Defender, no, it defender is star more than he winger.
Okay.
It's very rare in football to find a defender into a winger. I think that's what we saw over the weekend. I think technically he's improved, and credit to the coaches that work with Khuliso Mdao, and credit to him, George, because some of us, we work so hard and we give a lot of people credit for us waking up every day and giving ourselves 100%. Credit to him for waking up every day and having the willingness to want to improve as a football player, because from what we used to see him playing as a winger, if I'm about Zakes, you know, so many players that I'm starting to understand the process of growth. And, you know, me, myself, I always say, OT, I make the more mistakes, but I get into environments now where I'm thinking, shit, okay, you know, when you start being a professional OT, there's more that goes into it. It's about growth. You look at the first 3 months, the first 6 months, you become a better person. The first day is better than the last 60 days, I mean to say. So football players go to that process. They are professionals, but it needs a certain level of discipline. It needs a certain level of character. You know, yes, you need to have the talent for sure. Credit to people like that. Khuliso Mdao. You look at Ulibusa as well, who comes into the team, and I feel he's been very important for Mamelodi Sundowns, not just defensively, but I think also in position of the ball, because now he becomes that extra player, and I think he's an incredible communicator as well. I think people don't give Ubusa Dibusa. People underestimate communication in football. The more you communicate, George, the less mistakes you make. And if you've got better leaders that are able to anticipate in game, you know, even when I coach football, I hate leaders that wait for other people to make mistakes and then they correct. No, I want you to anticipate. And Ulibusa is one of those leaders that are able to anticipate. We've got Ronza, who's exceptional as well in terms of communication, organization, because at the highest level, it's important to understand that, George, you know, where there's 90,000 people you're playing against the Kaizer Chiefs or Al Ahly in a game of consequence. You need exceptional communicators. You need people that have big game temperament. You need people that have played games of consequence. You know, you need seasoned players that command respect. Sometimes masikchika ukuthi endoda uyakuhlula udiyeng lapha. Sondela kudiyeng bese uyakwata. Bese uyakwata wena. We don't need those characters in games like that. Sifuna abantu abachikekayo makumele bachikeke. Makumele uthathe responsibility. Like when I said that day, I was very passionate. It felt like I was on the pitch. I saw the clip. Someone sent me the clip when I said, Uxoki must win that header. And that's the conversation that we have, George, to say, in Kalagacha.
I actually want to ask you about that. How much does it come down to heart? Because I feel like sometimes the South Africans, and sometimes because Sundowns, there's a lot of talk about the tactics, but we know that Champions League a lot of the times comes down to one mistake. You can play a perfect game. Sundowns played a very good game. You could say first leg, 90+4, it becomes 1-1. How important is that? How important is that part of the game that doesn't, guys, tactics aside, now. We have to do something.
Yeah, George, I think away from talent, when talent means talent, I think you need more than that. I think it's about preparation. I think it's about heart. I think it's about who wants it the most. There's a clip that every one of us, I think as coaches, use when we go into boardrooms and before analysis, or when you want to go into a big game. Most of us have used the clip, George, where it says talent meets talent. You see you see the soul, you see the man's soul through his eyes. I think that's exactly what's going to happen tomorrow. It's about becoming men. I think a lot of those Mamelodi Sundowns players tomorrow need to become men. I think it's an opportunity for each and every one of them to create history. I think vice versa with the Pyramids. I think it's more than just a football game. I think, George, it's a game of quality. I always say this. Finals are not a game of tech. Yes, tactics are important. I think intelligent people will always understand that football will always include tactics, the technical side, the emotional, the psychological part of the game. I think that everybody knows that. But I think with these games, I think they're very tricky, George. I think if we all knew I think football would be boring. I think this game, for me, I don't even know who's going to win tomorrow, actually, because football is so unpredictable. Football is the only sport, George, where the one that deserves to win doesn't always win. Football is the only sport, George, where you can be poor for 70 minutes, but be defensive and get one chance and win the game. And that's exactly what can happen. Mamelodi Sundowns, if we are genuine, sorry, George, if we are genuine honest, this is the only season when we all feel that Mamelodi Sundowns doesn't deserve to win the CAF Champions League because we haven't been playing well. The other seasons, the reason why our hearts were broken is because we genuinely believed we are the best team in Africa. For me, George, the last 2 seasons, into the 2023 season, that's the best team I've ever seen with my eyes, man, in terms of football playing in South Africa. Yes, I've seen a couple of teams. I was born in 1995, so I can only speak from what I've seen. I understand that, George, and the level of research but for me, the best football I've ever seen in my life, the 2023 Mamelodi Sundowns, the diamond with Uneo Mayema. That's why, for me, I will always fight for Pili. Because that season, he was one of the best players I've ever seen in terms of finding the final pass. We don't have those midfielders, George. We always have midfielders in this country that have characteristics of defenders. You understand? It's either he's a right back, it's either... People don't know. Maybe I might reveal an exclusive thing here. People like Abotalen Bata, for example. I'm just making an example. The boy never grew up playing as a midfielder. You guys will see this, maybe, probably.
Yeah, we can see it in his movement. You
will see the story. He grew up as a winger. He grew up as a centre back. But that's a story for another day. My basic point is, some of the midfielders that you have, if you can check them really, really, really properly, George, assess them proper. Most of them were wingers, full-backs, defenders, centre-backs. They were genuinely not midfielders. And you can see from how they think, from how they move the ball, how they pass, how they think. More especially in tight spaces. Obviously training is okuneda, more especially when you're trained by Abu Rulani and coaches who overtime the small-sided game. Because the small-sided game, about 3v2, 5v3, what, they help you in terms of thinking quick, critical thinking, making quick decisions, finding a free man. Because we do that all the time in training, 3v2, Banbani, 5v4, always find a free man. It helps in critical thinking, you understand the decision making. So you can always improve, more especially if you've got the determination, you've got the drive as a person, you love football, you're a baller, you've got the skill, you've got the hunger. You can always improve, more especially if you are willing to learn. You watch videos, you learn, you're willing to take a criticism.
Does it go back to the conversation we had? Was it on 3-Man Press? The conversation we had about, there's a football that got you here, and there's a football that maybe we want to play. And I hear you saying that 2023 was some of the best football you've watched, but then now this football has gotten you to the final. We're hearing a lot being spoken about with Abo Tembazwane, Mayema, and all of those guys. Is this the time to sacrifice that football? Or do you see it through?
Yeah. More especially away. I initially thought Mshishi's going to play at home. I initially thought I'm going to see Uneo Mayema more because I was at the stadium the previous game before the first final. I was there, and I had the VIP experience. That's where you get the best. That's where you get to watch the best football, in my opinion, at the stadium. I understand that not a lot of people have the privilege. I was a fan myself. I'm still a fan of football, love football myself. But I never knew up until I got to sit into those spaces where I believe that maybe a lot of football fans don't know. Mina believe ukuthi Paula, mina ngikhulu coach obheka uThameka. Mina about uma uhlala emva kwepali uyawucaza ipala. Ulibheka kanjani ipala uhlala emva kwepala? You must sit in the middle. I sit in the middle where I watch football, get to see the best view of the game, or rather like slightly like a corner. This part of the stadium, a corner in a way, it gives you the view of the entire stadium, you know.
Yeah.
But the best place to watch football at the stadium, I think, is at the VIP section, George. But anyway, that's not my point, George. My bigger point is I initially thought that he's going to play Umshishi. He's going to play Uneo, because Uneo was absolutely incredible in that game, you know. But not as a starter, but I thought he was going to bring him earlier in the game, because I think the game was crying for someone who can play in the pockets, you know. Because, you know, he's got a different game model, and we've gotten used to his game model. He's a game model that relies on fullbacks occupying, you know, the wider areas, and then you find Utebo, you know, making sure that he's the one that carries the piano, because I think he's the best piano carrier. And then Umaselo Allende plays the piano, you know. I think he he's been playing the piano exceptionally well. I think he deserves his flowers, George. I think he's one of the players that I personally need to talk more about him, because I think I think he's been exceptional. I think he's been one of our best players this season, and I think he's been playing the piano exceptionally well for Mamelodi Sundowns.
But I just want to know, I'm still there, that like, you know, I understand that we love that football, but then also, do you also as a coach think to yourself, am I trying to teach these guys new things now, you know, at crunch time?
No, George, you know what I'm trying to say, George? I'm trying to say, going away, then you have to sacrifice those things, because a 1-1 is not a bad result for you. Because Mamelodi Sundowns has got goals. For sure. For sure. We can score 1 or 2 goals. We will score. You know? So for me, it's about the work, it's about the planning and the organization without the ball. Are we willing to suffer as a team? Are we willing to suffer together in moments where the game wants us to suffer?
Yeah.
And for me, as Miguel Cardoso tomorrow, less emotions on the technical area. Please, my brother. Less emotions, because we can't. And for me, George, this is why sometimes coaching, sometimes in Qatar, more especially Leia Manje, nale yabo coach abafuna ukubabos ama superstar. Udlala kanjani embizeni ngicoach energetic, so like I need to think in midfield. Embizeni kuyacatshwanga ndoda angazongoloku ubhiza usikrasela sibali. If it is funa ukucabanga ndoda ukuthi ikhipha kanjani final pass, and I think that's why midfielders, I think football players now, I want to really have a conversation. I think they really play under pressure from these coaches. I think they're really under pressure, Josh, because honestly, I always ask myself, how do these guys cope with this pressure of playing in midfield? How do you even think? That's why Bumakawla was passela sideways. Because let's allow players to express themselves. You know, I think more especially the ones who are playing in midfield, less emotions on the bench, less instructions. Yeah. Allow these players to think. You know, these are professionals. They've got their own brains. They can find their own solutions. You know, and for me, I think going away, I think that's what's needed. I think, you know,
is it needed though? Yeah. Okay, just quickly here, is it needed though? Because I'm still getting the feeling that we're thinking so hard, and for some reason, I don't know why, in my head, I feel as though Sundowns should be Sundowns. Pyramids should be the ones that are going, how do we do this? And obviously, maybe they are doing it, but I feel as though, man, overthink at this point of the tournament. I watched the game versus Ahly, and wait, Sundowns was Sundowns. Sundowns was not even better, but there was an aura about that game that they played versus Ahly that, no, you guys have to be the... Manje, I don't know why, man. We're trying to change things and do this and do that, when maybe Sundowns should be walking to that game and saying, listen, guys, we've played like this the whole season. This is our football. Bam, there we go. It's up to you guys to change it. Or mid-game, we can change it. Mara, I kinda, what's that quote? Whenever you've tried to win a war before it starts, there's an issue. Instead of just going in and saying, guys, this is what we do. You know?
Mina George, think something. You know, all the time when I get to things that I do now, you know, for the first time in my life, George, my big mouth got me into trouble. You know?
Yeah.
Yeah, I know. Yeah, for the first time. So now I just want, I really like, and that is something that's bothering me personally, you know, because my big mouth got me into trouble, you know. More especially I got contact, you know, why are you speaking about this with the broadcasters? Wow, you know, about Sundowns, trying to speak for Sundowns. And I got into big trouble, you know, big trouble, you know. Yeah, no. But my bigger point here also is even at the club at Sundowns, I also got into big trouble. My mouth keeps getting me into big trouble, you know. But apparently, if your mouth doesn't get into big trouble, that means there's people that who are not doing their job, who are supposed to be doing their jobs. But that's not the point here. But challenge even at Sundowns at some point. It's just that I'm probably now the most hated Sundowns fans because I'm probably the only one who sees what I'm seeing. And I've been at Mamelodi Sundowns this season to watch the game. You know, I'm always in studio to watch football games, of course. I think everybody knows that. And for me, there's a part of me that says, you know, something is missing, George. Away from the winning, away from the style of play and everything like that, but something is missing. I cannot put it together, George. I cannot really put it together. But, you know, I don't know. People, I might be wrong for this, and I might be hated for this. For a long time in my life, as a fan of that football club, I think under Coach Pitso, laying the foundation, bringing in Abosembata, ex-Mamelodi Sundowns legends at the club with development, I think it brought a lot of soul at the club. You felt a little bit at home, George, you know. You know, to have our homegrown players from our academy, Abu Keletso, Abu Pesi at the time, and all of the players that they used to have, Abu Chulis even before that, Abu Pesi and so on, was something good at the club. Something was brewing at the club, you know. And for me, George, one of the things that I've been advocating for ever since Miguel Cardoso came in as a coach is, my biggest worry is, when you bring in a coach like that, I've never ever seen Mina George, and I'm going to be honest. Like, listen, I'm saying it on Overthinking Football. I'm not saying it on any other platform. It's Kulula. And I am saying, George, I've never seen a coach, Mina. I only see this with Pep Guardiola, Jose Mourinho. I remember him having a conversation with Harry Kane about superstardom as a coach, where you need to get to in terms of Hollywood. And for me, I've never seen a South African coach or a coach. I've never seen a coach or Tata eat glory like that. I see him kissing the trophy more than 6 times and being, you know, and in pictures. I'm not criticizing that, but I'm just saying as a coach, coaches are normally the ones who allow players because the game is played by play. You know, the game belongs to players. The game belongs to players. And for me, I'm just looking at him from the way he dresses, you know. I'm not judging a lot of things. I'll get to my point, you know, from the way he carries himself, how he's desperate to win. My biggest worry with him is I hope he's not sacrificing Mamelodi Sundowns to benefit his CV. Because for sure, he will win the Champions League. For CV, 100% sure. But to sacrifice what we've done for over 12 years. Remember that football club, there were periods in that club where when you play like Mamelodi Sundowns, you know, you guys were saying you've been throwing all of these things to Mamelodi Sundowns, and under Pitso, it took us time to even get it right. We've built a 12-year project. Are we willing to sacrifice that for this? And for me,
and what's this? We don't have time, but this is the final, and it could be a star. Isn't that a worthwhile sacrifice?
You win the final, George. You will win the final, and you will celebrate. I will be the first person to celebrate. I celebrate every goal. I will be the first person to post and to celebrate and to be happy that the club has won a title, for sure. But I am saying my biggest worry, after winning the trophy, I will then wake up and say, Sharp, we won this trophy, 100%. There's a reason why there was no hype in Mamelodi Sundowns winning the 8th trophy, even from the fans themselves. Because deep down, they know that there's a certain way in which this club needs to win football games. And for me, I'm not saying, Mamelodi Sundowns, if they win this, it would not be the greatest. It would definitely be the greatest achievement ever. I am just worried in aftermath. I'm just worried post this, Oguchi. And then what happens then? Then that means we need to see Milford rules. I know we're out of time, Josh. That's why
Look,
I know that he's going to have a preseason. He's going to bring in new players. We're going to see him. That's when we can judge his work. But for now, I am not supporting what he's doing based on the fact that he cannot sacrifice what Mamelodi Sundowns has built for his own personal CV. I know these European coaches, my brother. They come
but for time. I have to jump in. We're going to have the conversation because I want to have this conversation. I just want to close, guys. We'll have the conversation because I think it's an important one, but I think three-man press. We'll do it there. We have to do it there. Guys, for time, I'm jumping in. Thank you to everybody that joined in. The only thing I will say, what I'm worried about, and maybe it's something small, but to Lindo's point, it's not necessarily about the trophy. I think in the past 2 or 3 weeks, I've maybe seen a different Coach Cardoso than the one. It's almost like he used to be scared, and now he's coming in and they are celebrating a bit more. They are open a little bit more. And the job is not done. And it's just an attitude thing that I am seeing, right? Doesn't mean that it's going to go into the game. It doesn't mean that it's going to affect whatever's happening. Mara, it's one of those things that on the show, whenever we see those type of stuff, you point it out. My thing about Sundowns is that I think Sundowns, guys, for me, Sundowns is meant to be, at this point, you're playing versus Pyramids. It feels, and we'll see what happens with the second game, but it feels like Sundowns is going to go and overthink this game, and Sundowns is going to try and do new things, and they're going to try and bring new stuff now, right, that they haven't been doing the whole season. And for me, that has been the downfall of a lot of South African teams that have gotten to this point. I've pointed to Kaizer Chiefs. We've pointed to Sundowns a couple of the times where, for example, Rulani will also admit and say that if only I'd made this change at that time and maybe sacrificed something, you can't be left with those questions. And that's my only worry about Sundowns. The other worry I have is that you are playing a team that is pure will. And those teams are hard, man. Like, those teams are hard to play against. Those teams that come in, and Pyramids has willed itself into this. They don't play the most hyper-tactical football. They just are willing to stay. It's Inter Milan making it to a final. If you watch the Inter Milan games, the last few, you see that these guys, by pure force of will, they were happened to make it through. And those teams are very scary, very scary. So I wish Sundowns, man, could come in and have that thing. When they played against Ahly, you could feel that, no, Sundowns has graduated now. There's Ahly, they are on top of them, and it's not even an on top that is like they're pushing. It's just they're better. But I don't know if you see more the environment or what's happening, Mara. When you look at it, you sit back and you go, I'm hearing, even you guys, this is not the Sundowns that I know. Some of the people that have been speaking, this is not the Sundowns that I'm used to listening to. Niacheika, and I don't know why Niacheika. And when people shake in this time, that's where the mistakes happen. It's similar to a game when you watch a game and it's like, okay, Al-Ahly, they scored their goal and then they retracted back and they were shaking and then they come inside and goal. But anyway, thank you guys so much for joining me. I have gone over time. Tomorrow, there's no game, but if you are in Midrand, the Banter League, we're having a Champions League watch-along at Kofi Midrand. So come down, you can sit down, we can watch the game together there. And then Sunday, I will be live at 7 p.m. for the Sundowns game. So tomorrow, if you're in Kofi Midrand, come through. Champions League starts at 9, I think it is. We will be there. The whole crew will be there. We'll be doing a watch along in the venue. So feel free to come through and check it out. Also, please follow. And also, I drop content every day. A reminder, guys, if there is something that has a brand, that's the belief. Like, comment, share. Watch it 700 times. If it's got a brand mark, I've got a lazy one, I've got a sleeper one. On YouTube, my interview with Amanda Dlamini, an incredible interview. Guys, go please watch those things and check those out. That is how we prove to brands that we've got interactive audiences, and you can come through. Well, interactive audiences that can take your brand somewhere, but I need your support in that regard. My podcast is also out. You could please go into Spotify, the George Mokwena podcast, and follow and listen there as well. It also, all of these things help out. Guys, thank you so much. Who is the whole crew? Well, the Banter League, we're going to be there. And then there's going to be a couple of people from the podcast that are going to be there too. I don't know if there's going to be 3 million rent cars there, but it's fine. Guys, thank you so much for joining me. I'll see you then on Sunday for the Sundowns games. Sundowns fans, man. Yeah? You must walk into that game with some confidence, man. With some confidence. Let's go.
Confidence, Bishop. Confidence. Alles aan die stapie. As aan die stapie en confidence. In the steppie. Confidence.
In the stepping, go step on pyramids, man. Oh.